All right, Brett Okamoto here with ESPN. I'm here with UFC lightweight Kevin Lee, who takes on Edson Barboza on Saturday. UFC Fight Night at Atlantic City. We are in Las Vegas right now, but you leave tomorrow morning, 5 days away from the fight. How you feeling, Kevin?
I feel like $1,000,000. This is my last day of preparation here in Vegas. Take off in the morning, but I feel pretty good. Just check my weight, make sure everything's running smooth. We're going to put on a good show.
Yeah, we'll get to the fight in a second, but let's just talk about the state of this division. This division is pretty wild right now. You have a new champion, Khabib Nurmagomedov. You have Conor McGregor. Not really sure what's going on with him. Nate Diaz hasn't fought in a couple years. Tony Ferguson is injured. That's a lot of names that are sort of a lot of uncertainty about it. Do you like the state the division is in right now, or do you think it's in a state where it's going to be difficult for you to stand out and make a move?
Yeah, I text Dana right away, right before the fight. I'm like, I apologize for this whole fiasco, the whole, whether they were going to bring in Max Holloway and they ended up with Ally Kenta. I apologize for all of that. If I would have showed them healthy against Tony Ferguson last October, I feel like that weekend in Brooklyn would have looked totally different, and the division would have a lot more clarity. But I'll clear it all up after this one, and then once I get that title back, I'll make sure the people know who the rightful king around here is.
And what you're referring to is that interim title fight against Tony Ferguson, where you had a chance to become an interim champion. You came up short in that fight. You were dealing with a staph infection, tough weight cut, right? When you look back on that fight 6 months ago, what stands out to you? What did you learn from it? What are the memories of that fight?
That's the biggest thing is, and that's why I'm excited for this one, is just the preparation mentally. I feel like that was the one piece that I was missing. I feel like I've been the best athlete in this division for a long time. It's just once I get that mental, those experiences out the way, and I understand my body even more, dealing with a sickness, with infection, and, it's just, as part of the game, it's part of being young. But I learned from it. I'm going to get better from it, and I feel like that's going to show this Saturday night. And then once I get another shot at that strap, then it's really going to come through.
What could you have done differently? I mean, staph infection, it comes up. It takes a certain amount of time to get rid of it, right? Is there anything you could have done differently about that last fight?
I probably could have took a little bit more of the stresses off myself. It was my first headline in a pay-per-view, and it's just a lot of stress. I was moving houses. I ended up going through a divorce. I was just going through a lot of things, and I internalized it all, and that came out physically. If your mind ain't there, the body will show you. And that's just one of the things that I'm learning with age and getting older and understanding myself and my body a little bit more. And I feel like I've cut out a lot of that in this camp. You see now, every day I'm in sweatpants and a white T-shirt. I'm showing up. I'm getting my work in. I've been in my bag. I'm ready to get this fight over.
Well, you said that had you won that fight that we wouldn't be here with all of this mess. But we are here at this mess. And do you feel like a win over Edson Barboza, as great as the Barboza is, it's a 5-round main event. Do you feel like you can really go anywhere with this win? Do you feel like there's a lot to gain by beating Edson Barboza on Saturday?
Yeah, and that's why I asked for this fight. When they approached me with this fight, I was excited about it. Another 5-round fight. A main event, all the spotlight, there's a lot of pressure that come along with it, and fighting a guy like Edson. Edson's been the top striker at 155 for a very long time. Once I beat him, I take that title over, and then it's on to bigger and better from there. But Edson's a very strong, very, very explosive. I think we're the two best athletes in his division. So it was a lot of things that intrigued me about the fight. I like fights like this a lot more than them easy. A lot of guys, they want to come back. They want to just, take the easy road back, or they just want to dip their toe in and give me a feeler fighting. I'm hopping right back in there with the big dogs. I feel like I'm doing that, and then it's Khabib time after this.
Well, it's definitely not an easy fight. Barboza has a proven track record in this division, and you will be going in there with a different team than you have in the past. And you lost your head coach, Robert Follis. He passed away in December. Can you take us back? Where were you when you received that news, and what was that like getting that news that your head coach had passed away?
Yeah, my brother had actually just fought over in Michigan that night, and we went to a little bar and celebrated after, and Chael Sonnen actually called me. He was the first to kind of break the news to me, and even when he did, we were my brother had just won first round TKO, so we were enjoying ourselves, and it didn't hit me immediately. What are you talking about? If anybody knew Robert, it was a shock to him, just because of the type of person that he was, and to go out like that, it was a big shock. But it took me a minute to kind of get over that, to get over the loss. There was a lot of things that were changing, but I feel like this fight will right all those wrongs.
Well, in the way in which Robert passed, a self-inflicted gun wound, what is that like to have someone close to you and also someone that is a mentor to you pass in that way? What was that like for you dealing with that?
Yeah, I've talked about this and said that, me and Rob, we were very close, and we were more similar than people realize. You look at us, he's a big mountain man wearing sandals, and I've got on shoes that cost more than anything that he owned. But we were at the core of who we were. We were really, really similar. He was somebody that really understood me, and that fighter and trainer relationship is very sacred, and I feel like we really had that going. So it was a big letdown, and it made me reevaluate some things. It made me sit back. But at the end of the day, I'm taking it as a positive. All the things that he used to tell me that I would ignore, that I would kind of push to the side because I'm young and I ain't paying. He would tell me some things: get your hands up, be in the fight all the time. He would tell me things through his wisdom, and I wouldn't understand it. I wouldn't listen. But now I feel like it's really forced me to listen. That's one of the things about this campus. I'm not going to be able to replace Robert. We have a relationship that I'll never have with anybody else. But the things that he used to tell me, the things that he did for me are still there. And now I'm really going to apply them. And I think that's one of the biggest things about this fight. I'm excited to go out there and put on a statement for him and do it for him.
Well, the obvious emotional impact of it, but like you said, you still have to put together a camp. What was that like, and who are you working with, and will you continue to work out in Las Vegas as you have for the previous couple of years?
Yeah, it was rough. I brought on 2 extra guys to help me kind of break down film and help me game plan. That was one of the. Robert was a great mind for the sport. Robert understood. He understood things. He understood anything more so than technique. He understood game planning and execution. So I brought on 2 other guys, Montel Williams and Eric Nixick over at Extreme Couture to help me kind of break down film. But then other than that, I have Dewey Cooper still. He's kind of been before my team Rob was the head driver. I'm the machine. I'm just the car. I had Dewey Cooper, who was the horsepower. He was the one making sure I showed up in shape. And then I had my strength and conditioning coach, Corey Goodwin. He made sure that my body was great, my health was there, and the car was running smooth. So now I got to be the head driver and the machine, and I'm ready to go out there and show that I've matured enough and I've gotten that experience enough to go out there and do it.
Without giving too much away, obviously, you said you were looking at film of Edson. What did you see in that? What do you see the challenges that exist when you'll be facing Edson on Saturday?
Any fighter has their tactics. Any fighter has their tendencies. Any fighter has weaknesses. I feel like I got into the sport to be the most well-rounded fighter that there is, and that's what I'm setting out to do, and that's what I'm going to do this Saturday. I'm gonna expose all his weaknesses, not just, there's some glaring ones. He doesn't like to fight backwards. He's not a great wrestler, not great off his back, things like that. But there's even little things that I'm able to break down and that I'm really exposed that nobody else has. I think I'm gonna beat him worse than a lot of other guys have.
Well, this is a big fight, 155 pounds, but I remember last year you kind of were breaking some news, I guess, a little bit by saying that the UFC was going to add a 165-pound weight class. We have not seen that yet, but you seem to have an inside track to this information. You always have. What is the latest of the possibility of a 165-pound weight class?
It's getting closer. It's the legislation behind it, but then it's also like the logistics on what fighters are going to be where, what they're going to do with the 170-pound class. I think what's been the holdup, and that's what's taking some time to kind of etch out. But I feel like it's getting there. I feel like it's only a matter of time. So right now, I'll focus on this one. I'll go out there. I'll make a statement. If they want me to fight again for a 155-pound title, I'll be there. But, if a 165 comes up, I'm mean and lean, and I'm ready to go. But at 165, I feel like it will be my real weight class.